Hi everyone, welcome back to Mad About Cards and Crafts. Today I am sharing the 7 Kids Craft November release. This will be their final release. There are 3 stamp sets in the collection. We're going to jump right in and I'm going to share those with you. The first one that I'm using is this Feeling Frosty, and then I'll be using the Winter Fun Fairies. Finally, we have Fairy Winter Dance. I will not be using this in my card today, but I will come back with that. Those are some stitched hillside borders from Lawn Fawn. That is also a Lawn Fawn Pond and some Tonic Studio paper. All of the white paper is Nina Solar White 80-pound cardstock. This panel is cut to 4x9 and that will be the final size of my card. I started out by adding some of the Nuvo Embellishment Mousse. This one is powder blue. You're actually not going to end up seeing much of it because I decided to keep my hillsides tall instead of cutting them down a little bit. The second one that I'll be using is a darker color and it's called Old Navy. I think both of these are absolutely beautiful. They are my favorites for Christmas. I think they go on very nicely. I am going to end up coming in with a little bit of gouache and blending out the line between the blue and the light blue and the dark blue. But I do like the way that this comes out. I think that it's so fun. These mousse, I always forget that I have them and I need to pull them out more often. And I say that about a lot of my stash. So here we go. I'm going to add a little bit of gouache. Here's where I'm blending it out with my finger. I just felt like the line was just a little bit too strong. And then I will water down that gouache a little bit more and start doing some splatterings all over my panel. I'll be using a stencil today from the Greetery. It's called Frosty Flakes, and I will be stenciling with the embellishment mousse. I'm going to use that light blue embellishment mousse and it comes out super dreamy. I did dry the panel after I put down that gouache. I didn't just immediately put down this embellishment mousse, otherwise it would have spread and you wouldn't have had those nice little splatters. You would have had a big white mushy mess. So I'm going to take my butter knife, that is what that is, that's a butter knife, and I'm going to spread this over, making sure to pick up any of the excess. I do use that saran wrap. I put it over my embellishment, that was a hard word for me to say. Embellishment mousse, I do put it over that. And it has kept it for the whole year, so I'm very happy with that. I'm taking that powder blue again and I'm running it over the hillsides to add a little bit more interest to those hillsides and some color. Break it up just a little bit so that they're not stark white. They'll blend into the background as well. I set that aside and then I colored up my images. I didn't color my images on camera. I colored them in my last video and somebody had informed me that they don't enjoy watching coloring. And so I really do try to give you guys both of what you want. For those that like coloring, I try to add the coloring on occasion. And for those that don't like coloring, I cut it out when I can. And so this is one of those videos where I am cutting it out. I am going to use my art glitter glue and glue my hillsides down. Then we're going to start working on the sentiment. I'm going to tell you that I did start to heat emboss the sentiment on the top hill lower right, and I cut it out. I'm not showing it here, but I ended up misstamping it, and so I decided to go ahead and use some of that embellishment mousse. That's a weird word for me to say. Anyway, to over onto a piece of paper, and then I cut it out using a Pink Fresh Studio hexagon. This sentiment is from a new Catherine Pooler set, I will list it in the description box below, as I will with all of the other products that I used. I am planning on doing a Christmas card series. Yes, I know this is a Christmas card, but I'm planning on doing a series with some stamps that I have purchased myself. There are some Greetery, some Catherine Pooler, and some Lawn Fawn, and I want to do a little bit of what I want to do and share that with you. So I used some Hero Arts white embossing powder. I did use my anti-static tool over that hexagon, but I still had a few stray pieces of embellishment there, but no embossing powder. And my heat tool had been heating up over on the side. I added some foam adhesive so that I could give this a little bit of a lift. You know, I like my dimension. I did put some of that on the back of each of the critters, but I did not torture you with me taking off the tape because it is a very tedious task. I am going to put this on the lower left top portion of the card panel, and I try as hard as I can to get it straight. I think that I got it fairly straight. I think it may be off just a slight bit. I don't know. Is it me? Is it straight? Let me know after you look at the final card. I'm really not certain. As I said, all of these products will be listed below, as well as links to where you can purchase them. These cute little images that I'm using today will be over in the 7 Kids store. I am gluing my pond down now, and I thought that I was going to take my guillotine trimmer and trim this down, but it didn't work out as well as I anticipated because it's not tall enough for my 9-inch card. So I do have to use my Tim Holtz scissors and do a little bit of trimming right there. And then I will also trim a little bit off the bottom that I didn't see. So here we go. I am going to start adding my images. Aren't they adorable? I will get everything put down, and then I will look at that pond and I will think that that pond is still just a little bit empty. I will off camera color up one more of the images. The image that I color will be coming from the Feeling Frosty stamp set. I added some stickles. I believe these are Stardust stickles, and then I decided that I wanted to add them as little dots all over, so I'm adding them as I'm adding them on as dots, and I'm adding them on the hillside. This has been a tough day for me, you guys. Really a challenging day. It is just one of those days where nothing goes right. There were a lot of things that went wrong with different cards that I was making, and words are a challenge. Crafting was a challenge. I'm working on it. So I'm hoping that tomorrow is a better day. I'm looking at this and I still think that it's a little bit bare, but I will use my gel pen, and boy, do I mess this fox up. So I don't like where I put the accent mark, and I go right back to the same place. I don't know why. I went right back to the same place that I started, and I tried to do it again. It didn't look right the first time. Why did I think it was going to look good the second time? I'm adding some freckles to the cheeks of the little mice, and here is the squirrel that I'm adding because I just felt that there wasn't enough going on. I'm going to put some freckles on his cheeks, and then we're done. Here's a last look at my card. I want to thank you so much for hopping along with us today. Make sure that you head over to the next person in the hop. Thanks so much for watching.